You ready?
Yes. Um,
Okay. Hello everyone. Welcome to our call. I'm going to set Autumn up so that she can share her screen and be the actually, Autumn, I'll just make you the host today.
okay.
So we are good there. So you can share your screen and then admit people as they join. Okay. Welcome.
Okay. Let me just do this here. Oh, I have a new computer and I just haven't shared my screen yet with this. So let me allow it. 1 second. Oh, I thought I already did that. So it might make me quit and reopen. Let me try it again. Oh, never mind. Just kidding. Okay, can you guys see that?
Make it bigger.
Yes.
Yeah, if you just expand it, then I can see it good too.
And then how do I expand it again?
Press the green up in the left corner, the green little.
Yeah,
Oh,
there's
yeah.
an expand button for just that, but I don't see it. So
Does that work?
scroll up to the top of your screen. And then see that little on the next to the printer icon on the right side? Right side, all the way over.
Oh,
Down.
sorry, my box.
Printer icon. See that little arrow in the box? Click that. Yep.
Okay, here we go. Sorry, guys. Um, okay, so I love this topic. This is something that once I started going into it, diving deep, it expanded to like multiple directions. But this is a really good thing to talk about because food is such a big part of what we do every day, right? It's such a big part of emotional. We emotionally eat, we have to physically eat, socially eat. It's just involved in so many different aspects of what we do. And so I feel like being mindful of what exactly our hunger cues are and what they aren't is super important to chat about. And it's just a really good reminder to think about these things as we move through our day and the seasons that we're in. Let me admit people here. Hold on. Are you really hungry? If you guys have questions about any of this, you can always chime in too. So we're going to dive into hunger. Is it physical or emotional? And I know we've kind of all been in this position. I mean, it's just a physiological need to eat, right? It's an unconscious behavior to be hungry. So thinking about that as far as, am I physically hungry or am I emotionally hungry was more of the direction I wanted to go and kind of tunnel vision that way. Um, and how do we work with our body to manage it in a healthy way? Um, working with the brain, everything's always associated with mental capacity, and hunger's one of them, right? So like I said, there's a physiological need to eat, a physiological desire to have food. We all get hungry. Your body will send signals to your brain through various systems, your muscle, digestion, liver, nervous system, all send signals to your brain that has that unconscious thinking of we need fuel, we need some substrate to get in to provide movement and thinking for our body. And the signals help your brain decide how hungry you are and how much more energy you need or to burn. Two important concepts, and I say this a lot, satiety and satiation are different, but I'm always working on keeping a level of satiety with my clients through the day, right? So I'm sure other coaches will talk about that too. Satiety is the ongoing feeling of not needing to eat between meals. So if we look at satiety throughout the day, the best thing for me, I think, is to, and we won't go down the rabbit hole of what to eat, but more of making sure at each meal you're fulfilling your hunger needs by focusing on protein, fiber, and fat. Those to me, after that meal, will provide a certain level of satiation and that will pull through satiety through the rest of the day between meals. So satiety is an ongoing feeling of not needing to eat between meals, while satiation is the short-term satisfaction we get right after eating. So you're satiated, you finished your meal, you're full, you're satiated, your body's telling your brain, I don't need any more. And there's a lot that can go on with that as well. But those are the two things that, if you really break it down and think about, am I satiated between meals? After my meal, do I feel some form of satiation? Am I full? Both of these are controlled by the brain, which listens to signals from your body. So just like we were talking about, all the organs kind of filter up to tell your brain, I'm full. It takes time. So there's a level of how you can do this and it can break down from, are you paying attention to food? Are you eating slowly? Are you watching TV while you're eating? Are you doing multiple things while you're eating? Are you standing up? Are you dealing with kids, which we all do sometimes, right? We're all busy and we're feeding our kids and we're eating at the same time. But sometimes that really interferes with the body's signal to tell your brain, I'm full, because we just get mindless and we keep moving through that system that we're in. When your body feels safe, it allows you to burn energy and feel fuel. And what I mean by safe is, being highly stressed, right? You're not in a safe zone. Hormones being off, you're not in a safe zone. Thyroid being off, you're not in a safe zone. Not sleeping, being dehydrated, all of those things are kind of signaling your body that you're not in this safe environment. For your body to have those almost normal reaction to tell your brain, I'm full. Because if we're highly stressed, that leads to that overeating pattern. If we're not sleeping, that leads to that overeating pattern. So that's kind of what I mean when I'm referencing feeling safe. The body's just in a really good balanced state. So when you're well rested, well fed, in a positive environment, your brain knows it's okay to burn fat and not hoard your calories. There is a really true thing when your body is in fight or flight. It doesn't allow you to burn calories at an optimal level. Losing weight, you can, but it's not as progressive and it's not as easy for your body to give up into that fat burning state. So if we all have like high levels of stress, high levels of anxiety, we all know that's a really true thing to have too much cortisol, that your body's not going to let go of fat. Interesting story I have really quick. And this is just like totally kind of off topic, but I did a DEXA scan on Saturday. And I need to share that information with you guys because I'm doing the cohort. But
Ooh, yes, you do.
what?
I said, yes, you do. I'm excited.
Yes, I do. And I forgot about that till just now. But they test your visceral fat, right? So the fat that's hugging around your organs, you don't really see it on the outside. It's more of internal. I have 3 readings before this 4th one, and they have all been 0. I've had 0 that is pulled on my test. And on this last one, my visceral fat was like 0.423. So when I was asking the technician, I'm like, what would cause my visceral fat? Just because I'm getting older, because I'm almost 44. And she's like, no, that reading's really low. Are you really stressed today? I'm like, yeah, because I had like a super stressful morning. Like my brain was just, when you're so stressed, you have that cloud kind of hanging over you. She's like, your cortisol is going to get really, really high and it's going to pull that high reading in that test. So that was just like really interesting to me because it very much holds true to the rest of the day when we're trying to get our body to burn fat, even through the evening, right? So kind of lots to go wrong with it, but we really want to be in that safe environment. And there's multiple factors to that safe environment. But like I said, when you're under stress, whether it's from lack of sleep, chronic stress, from kids, or unhealthy habits, your body sends signals of danger and it just makes it harder to feel full, and more likely to hold on to fat. So I know we've all experienced it at some juncture when we have super high stress levels, and you cannot get full, right? I have days, I know if I have 4 to 5 hours of sleep, oh my gosh, all day I'm hungry because my body just doesn't have those correct signals to send to the brain that I'm feeling full. So that's kind of what I mean by the danger, is kind of assessing where you are. I don't love, like, I get really onto my kids when they're watching TV or they're on the phone. They're more like they're not eating, right? If they're kind of mindless eating. We're more, if I'm just standing there eating, my body's kind of more in a danger state, and it has this tendency to not tell my brain that I'm not full. Okay, so that's kind of what it means right there with danger. That's why at HF, we're all about movement, our lifestyle modifications, our movement, our sleep, proper nutrition, food quality, all of that helps our signals to your brain that you're safe and ready to thrive. That's a lot of the reason why, too, personally, and I know all of my coaches here, we pay such close attention to our circadian rhythm, because that is creating a lot of homeostasis within our body. And our hormones just cannot be properly balanced if we're not paying attention to, are we getting sunlight in the morning, sunlight in the evening, sunlight in general? Are we moving around? Are we focusing on sleep? That works in many other factors, but it also works with just your body having this innate sense of fullness throughout the day. And I know we've kind of all experienced it in some way. So there's a huge difference between physical and emotional hunger. And recognizing it and being mindful of it is key to kind of help nip it in the bud when we find ourselves getting a little out of control, when we're in a fat loss phase and we really have to watch our calories. It's good to just know the difference between them so you can have that knowledge, and knowledge is power. I feel like if you have awareness, you can kind of make those changes in the day and take a step back and separate yourself from it. It just really helps with balancing your relationship with food, pretty much in general. So physical hunger, this is your body's genuine need for nourishment. Often starting with a gradual feeling of emptiness or low energy. It's usually satisfied by eating something nutritious. So we all get a physical hunger, right? We can tell. I personally get kind of shaky, a little bit low blood sugar, our stomach's growling. It's just time to eat. It's that separation. It's been 4 hours since I've ate. It's definitely time for me to sit down. It's definitely time for me to have my meal. And it's more located in your stomach, right? Does that make sense? Most of the time, when we're physically hungry and we have a meal, we aren't associated with guilt afterwards. Okay, so there's that association with that guilt feeling after towards more emotional eating, but we're just full. We feel good. Okay, I got my meal in. I'm good to go. I can go from X, Y, and Z for the rest of my day. And that's more emotion or physical hunger. Emotional hunger is kind of the exact opposite. This is more acute. It's kind of sudden. It kind of comes on with highly stressed situations through the day. But like I said, it's mostly driven by stress, boredom, or emotional triggers. We all have the emotional triggers that make us overeat, or not even really overeat, have something to eat when we're trying to relate our emotions, relate to our emotions with the feelings that we're having. It leads to cravings for comfort foods and often results in mindless eating, which isn't satisfying, and it does kind of leave that guilty feeling. I've done it before. I know everybody's done it before. You have those specific foods that are, my husband always says, that have no breaks, right? So like cookies or like chips that are just so easy to sit there and kind of mindless eat, hand to mouth. You're not thinking about the situation. It's more of a habit too. So say, for example, I have a big problem going to my dad's house. It's a habit for me to go in his pantry. I just open it up. He's always got something in there that I can kind of grab and eat. And I'm not hungry. It's just a habit. Oh, I'm going to go in his pantry and see what he has in there. And that's more of an emotional hunger versus, even though I'm not hungry, a physical hunger. But we all have those situations, right? We get off work, we're highly stressed. It's almost like an adrenaline dump coming home from the day. We want to go home. We get in this habit of sitting down or grabbing something because we are kind of experiencing some type of physical hunger, but we just sit down and we start mindless eating. Or a lot of times after dinner, once we get dinner cleaned up, we've kind of created like, gosh, I kind of want something sweet, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it's kind of controlling the limit, right? So associating that with guilt afterwards is more of telling you, did I have that emotional hunger that was directed towards that? Does that make sense to everybody? It's like emotional hunger is more of like an experience, like you just want that experience of eating that food. So we have some tips. So I always call the apple test or I have the chicken test, right? So it's like, if you're experiencing physical hunger, is it something that if I have an apple, it's going to create some satiety for me? If I have some chicken, is it going to create some satiety for me? If I sit down and have a protein, a fiber, and a fat, am I going to feel okay? If you have that meal and you're still kind of craving or having a desire to have something else, it'll kind of create less space to overeat that extra food. So a lot of times, if I'm feeling hungry, I'll have a meal. If I sit back, I'm full, right? I've created the plate, I've ate the food, I've had some time, I'm satiated after that meal. That's kind of one thing you can ask yourself. It's not like you really have to have an apple. It's just like, can I have this and I'm feeling full? Usually that means you have that physical hunger that you need to eat. Create space. So I use this analogy a lot as well with coaching for some clients who have a hard time separating themselves from almost like binging behavior. It's kind of like keep that thing away. I don't know how to mute people.
Click on participants, Autumn.
Oh, shit.
I don't know where that is.
So down, and then there's two like people, it says next to chat. So you have share in the middle, then you have react.
I got it. I'll reclaim. You're good. You can keep talking.
Oh.
Just kidding. I just technical difficulties. I just muted Autumn.
Unmute.
Okay, now you can keep talking.
Now I can't see you guys. Oh, now I can. Okay, we're good. We're good. Creating space between you and that desire to overeat. I don't like to eat. I don't like to keep foods that I know personally I will completely overeat on. Okay. So it's just how I am. I know some people don't like to have that restrictive thinking, but if I don't keep the cookies that I like in my pantry, if I have to put my shoes on and get my car and go to the store, the odds are that emotion that I have directed for that food really diminishes by the time I think, I don't really want to do that. Right. So then I kind of direct myself to having something else instead to kind of fill that if I'm hunger stage. So that's kind of what I meant by creating space here. And then, yes.
Turned off if you want to reshare. Sorry.
Oh, it did. Oh, I don't even know where I am. Hold on. We'll redo this, guys.
Yeah, I can pull it up if I
Here we
need
go.
to. Okay. Yeah, just pull it up. Expand that and then you're good.
Is that better?
Yep.
Okay. Sleep matters. We all talk about sleep. We all know sleep matters. If you find yourself kind of more directing towards emotional eating through the day, take a nap. Okay, so take yourself away, take yourself outside, and just try to see if your body's just lacking energy from lack of sleep. Track your patterns. Food diaries are amazing. I don't know if anybody's ever used a food diary, but I do do this quite frequently with some clients who are experiencing stress eating or binge eating. Kind of write down your emotion during, what happened before, how you felt. You will start to notice patterns evolving from your daily schedule that will kind of create that your body to have that desire to overeat. And everybody has it. Everybody has these patterns and everybody has these stressors. Everybody has these desires to go home on a rainy day and, sit and drink hot chocolate and make your favorite cookies, which that's something that you need to do. But if it's not being controlled to a certain extent, it's kind of like backtracking on your food diaries and seeing what that exact trigger is. Being kind to yourself. Emotional eating happens. It just does. We all do it. The best thing that you can do, you guys, is keep tracking in your food logs. You can't kind of have that thinking of, oh, I just had 2 servings of ice cream and I went over my calories 300. I'm just not going to track for the rest of the day, right? But if you just really, oh, well, so what? I'm going to go over my calories. I'm going to put it in my food log so I can hold myself accountable. Most likely that's going to prevent you from overeating, 300 calories versus 1,200 calories. So at the end of the week, your calories aren't completely blown off. That also kind of eliminates that on-off thinking of tracking. So be kind to yourself. It totally happens. Everybody does it, and it's just kind of finding your mindfulness towards it so you can take action towards that feeling the next time it arises. Knowledge is power. I love saying that because it really is. The more you know, the more you can take a deep dive into your brain. Why am I doing this? Take a step back. Like, am I really hungry? And just learning is so fun about your body, using food for fuel. What's the analogy? Live to eat, don't eat to live. It is so great, I think, in understanding physical and emotional hunger. You can create the systems that support your body and mind in your fat loss journey. I 100% agree with that. So that's just something that I think everybody needs to address at some point and think about. And yeah, it's a great thing to know about yourself. Yeah. Does anybody have any questions for me? Any thoughts?
No, I think this is a great topic, just with prep week being this week for our fat loss cohort, as this will be something that we'll be discussing a lot over the next 5 weeks or 12 weeks, depending on how long, if people extend on that. So save this, come back to it. And if you have any questions on it as well, if you're in the fat loss cohort, this is something that we could discuss in there too. So I think the main takeaways for me are just acknowledging your level of stress and recognizing that, one, if you are stressed out, it might make fat loss harder on a physiological standpoint, like within your body, but then more so, it's going to make it harder from an adherence standpoint. It's really hard to adhere to a calorie deficit when you are under a lot of stress. And so just for all the reasons that Autumn spoke about. And so if you are lacking in sleep, if work is crazy right now, if you're not able to even eat at maintenance and track your food intake and have consistent meals, then it might not be the best time to drop calories by 500 and dive into a fat loss phase. And that doesn't mean you can't improve your body composition. I think coming back to the basics, like how can I decrease my stress? How can I increase my sleep? How can I get outside more? How can I just be consistent with, my lifting or walking in a way that's sustainable for me? Like, what does that look like? Not 6 days a week, maybe 3 days a week, 20 to 30-minute sessions in my living room with dumbbells and bands. We have a program for that too, even. So finding what works for you, what can you do to keep moving the needle in the direction that you want it to move, but also zooming out on big picture, like what does your life look like right now? How can you support yourself right now to feel your best? So those are kind of the main things. I think it's easy to be hard on ourselves and think we're failing and we need to just go very extreme to see change and feel change. But usually it's the opposite. It's going a little, like adding a little bit at a time and finding consistency with that. So thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
Yeah, Autumn, I like how you mentioned that like actually like having emotional eating, it's not like it's wrong or the worst thing ever. Like it happens to all of us. So, the objective is to like not be perfect and to never have it. But man, some self-awareness can go a long, long way. And just the act of like being aware of what's going on in that moment. What are you feeling? What are you trying to change about how you're feeling? And really like thinking more about that, rather than getting into the guilt and the shame and those kinds of feelings that come along with it sometimes.
Yeah.
I'm thinking
love it.
also like two quick things that I'm thinking about during this call is really focus on meals, like remove yourself from the constant snacking and focus on 3 to 4 meals per day can make a huge difference in just keeping that more level of satiety. And also we live in a society today where we are so privileged to be able to really enjoy most of our meals, and sometimes I think it's important to eat for fuel and not just eat for excitement or the lovely taste of it. It's like some things we eat just because it does us well and our body needs it, and not everything we eat needs to taste incredible, even if we are privileged to be able to do that very often. I think like going back to like just thinking about our basic needs can also be a good reminder for us at times.
Yeah. 100% agree. And usually that's a lot of the problem is backpedaling and saying, am I eating enough? If you're experiencing a lot of abnormal cravings or emotional hunger, it's letting go of the idea of, eating too many calories. Well, are you eating enough? And are you eating enough at every meal to feel satiated through the day? And it's a powerful tool to track your food and know where you're at with all this for some time. So yeah, it's great. I'm glad I was able to share this with you guys. And you guys know, if you have any questions, you can always reach out. You can always ask us. We can be your sounding board, and of course, address issues always with your coach. And good luck to everybody in the cohort. And I'm excited to have all you guys there doing it with me. So yeah. I'll sign off, and thanks for joining with us today, you guys, and reach out if you have any questions.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.